city is infected. You are the cure. Our enemies have nowhere to run.
Crackdown 2 takes place 10 years after Crackdown 1. The city's basically become a war zone. So at the end of Crackdown 1, you defeat all the gangs and you unwittingly unleash the freaks. And the virus spreads throughout the city. And so 10 years later, the city is crumbling. It's decrepit, it's falling apart. There's a new group called the Cell, and the Cell are a group that is basically blame the agency for releasing the freak virus. And they feel bad for the freaks, but they still have to fight them because the freaks will fight them back. And they also fight the agency. So during the day, you're mostly fighting against the Cell, and then at night, when the freaks come out, you're mostly fighting against the freaks. The main thing that we just love to talk about is the multiplayer. So Crackdown 1 was 2-player co-op, which everybody loved. It was, I think, the only open world action game with co-op at the time. And so now we're pushing that forward. We're going to make it 4-player co-op, and it's going to be completely seamless. So if I'm fighting in a mission, my friend can see that I'm playing, can jump into my game, they'll show up right next to me, and away we go. And 2 more friends, they can jump in too. If they want to go to bed, they can leave. So it's totally seamless. We don't want to
I don't think anybody will want to go to bed though.
Yeah, that's right. It's totally seamless. We don't want to punish the players for getting into co-op, right? You don't make a date or write down a time. Like, people come on at different times, so we want it to be totally fluid, where people can jump in and jump out as they please. Yeah, the other big new feature is 16-player multiplayer. So player versus player, deathmatch, and other things that we can't talk about in terms of the modes, but it's a completely different experience than any other multiplayer game, just because it's Crackdown. Because you can jump 200 feet in the air, and there's 16 of you, and you're all hopping around buildings like crazy jumping ants. I mean,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's a really fun, unique experience.
A unique thing about Crackdown's multiplayer that differentiates it from every other game is the fact that other games have done 16-player PvP before, but nobody has done it yet in a huge open space environment that's both incredibly wide as well as incredibly tall. So imagine being, I'm right here and I see a speck of dust on the horizon, and I know that's another player. And I'm going to shoot the rocket at him, and he's going to get hit, and it's going to register, even if I don't see it because he's so far away. Yeah, and you can split. You can have a war within the city, and 8 people are in one side, 8 other people are in another, and they may never meet, but they're fighting the same war. That's something unique.
Really epic, I would say.
Very epic.
Any new features besides multiplayer?
Absolutely. So we've gone through and completely redone the environment. So it takes place in the same city, but it's 10 years later, and the city really shows it. So not only is the city crumbling, there have been new buildings that have been built in the meantime, and the developers, we've gone through and just completely redone all the art. So the game really looks a lot better than Crackdown 1. It's a big improvement, and just the technological challenges of getting 4 or 16 players into that big open environment with no loading. It's completely seamless, and that's like a big challenge. Some of the other new stuff that we've added is a bunch of new weapons. We're showing off some toys as well, like the magnetic sticky grenades. And that just allows players to have fun. There's plenty of directed missions to do, but if you want to go mess around and create some cool contraptions, create some big slingshots out of cars, that's there too. And we want to give players the ability to just go and make their own fun, and just have a blast in the world of Crackdown. We think it's the most sandbox of sandbox games. We offer the most freedom. So if you want to go play mission 1, or they're not numbered, but you want to go play this mission, I want to go play this mission, fine, we'll go off in different directions. If we want to stay together, fine, we can do that too. You don't have to play the missions in any order, although there's some ways that might be more efficient to play certain orders, but you can play it and attack in any way you want.
It's all about the freedom, always.
It really is.
Crackdown is really about ultimate freedom for ultimate fun.
Well, you know, from Crackdown 1, I really enjoyed, everyone loved the heat-seeking rocket launcher, and I really enjoyed the harpoon gun that we introduced in the DLC, in the downloadable content, where you could stick guys to walls, stick guys to cars. That's really fun. So that's from the first game. We've got a bunch of new stuff that's really cool too. We're showing off the UV shotgun right now because the freaks are particularly susceptible to UV light. That's why they come out at night. They don't come out during the day because it burns them. So you have a shotgun that basically shoots a blast of UV light, but it also has a push mechanic, so it's useful against the cell, you know, and objects in the world too. So you shoot it and it's a blast and just pushes everything away from you, which is great when you've got 20, 30 freaks swarming around you and you need to clear the space away. Boom! And so, I mean, we're showing the sticky grenades, which are, you know, great fun, but what's really great is when you start combining stuff. So one of the things that we've been showing is stick a sticky grenade to the ground and then take one of those gas canisters and tie that to it and it will spin around. Well, that's cool, but you can stick that to a car also. And so if you're driving down the street, you can have gas canisters rotating around the car. So the beauty of it is just the combinations of all the items. We want to give the players the tools and they can create the most amazing contraptions that, you know, sometimes even the developers haven't thought of. We saw that a lot in Crackdown 1 where people would do stuff that we never even dreamt of, but it was awesome. You know, they make YouTube videos of it and everybody sees it and they go and try it. So there's really a great community around Crackdown and around showing people, look what I did, look what I figured out. And then other people say, oh yeah, but have you thought of this? And they sort of build onto each other. And before you know it, you have stuff that, you know, we've just never even thought of. And it's fantastic. You know, Crackdown 1 was in development for years, and we're building off of that foundation of technology. So we're not completely starting from scratch with this one, but that being said, we had to completely redo the networking layer to allow for 4 players and 16 players. We've completely redone all the graphics, and so we've had to redo all the technology to allow that to run at a nice smooth frame rate, no matter how many people or how many things you're blowing up, or if there's 30 freaks running at you. So there's huge technological challenges. Ruffian's been at it for quite a while, and they're continuing to work on it. We're continuing to work on it, and we'll be done sometime in 2010.
And it's definitely purely a labor of love from them.
Yeah.
So the same guys that basically most of the team that made Crackdown 1 is making Crackdown 2. So we know they have the experience, the skills, and they really know their game better than anybody else. They are, you know, nobody's better equipped to make Crackdown 2 than the original team, and it's great to have them aboard.
Yeah, Crackdown 2 is coming out in 2010. It's going to be fully localized for Latin American Spanish, and it's going to be fantastic. I think everybody's going to really love it.
Yeah, we really hope you guys enjoy getting it as much as we're enjoying making it and giving it to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You know, the fans in Mexico have been fantastic. EGS has been fantastic. The enthusiasm that people have for the game, it's just been a real pleasure to be here. It's my first time at EGS, and it's just been a blast. I've had a great time, and you know, hoping I can come back every year from now on.
Yeah, as they would say in Mexico, EGS está de madres.